I do enjoy fishing for the mini species, and today I'm on the trail of the three-spine stickleback. I'm on a brook that I have fished quite a lot in recent weeks. I'm going to show you my setup if I can. It's really tight here. It's the poacher's pocket. Really tight indeed. Poacher's pocket, reel and rod setup. And then I've got a hook length of fluorocarbon. I've got a size 6 or size 4 shot there, and that gives me what you would call a hook length of about 8 inches. The reason I've gone for that length is because I want the lead to sink. I need a little bit of flicking weight because a maggot itself wouldn't be sufficient, and then when that's on the bottom, the maggot will sink much more naturally. And what I find is that when there is a bait on the bottom, unless there's a crowd of fish and the competition for that food is extremely intense, they will often leave it because the maggot is quite big compared to some of those fish. But when it's sinking, it must be the movement in the water that attracts them initially, and then they all go for it, and you can spot when one of them just takes it. You don't want any deep hooked fish, that's not what you want. I tend to pull out quite early as opposed to letting the fish gorge the bait, and especially the bigger sticklebacks, they're the ones that will do that. So that's my setup, very, very simple indeed. I probably will use just one, at the most 2 maggots today. I'm dropping the bait in now. It is quite cloudy because we've had some rain recently. I'm on a tiny brook quite near to the source actually, and so consequently, although the rainwater will enter the brook, it moves through fairly quickly. You can see the evidence though as it's gone through. I think it's like a spate river, but it is in a valley and with some settlement. It was quite some distance away, but nevertheless that will drain in as well. I normally have lots of sticklebacks immediately on the bait, but nothing today. I wonder if the runoff has affected them. We'll see, won't we? Clarity is quite an issue as well because this is sight fishing. I'm not looking at the line or the rod top. I'm actually watching the bait, and that's proving to be very difficult. I think this will be a challenge. I normally get 30 fish before I decide to pack away, but in this swim especially, I'm not sure that's going to be the case today. This is going to be a challenge. Even sticklebacks can be a challenge sometimes when the conditions are like this, for sure. That's going to be the case. Nothing. It's amazing when you come to this place and you just look into the water. They're everywhere, darting around. You put the bait in and they're on it instantly. One of those places where you think, can't blank on there. Hopefully that's not the case today. I tell you what, I am extremely grateful for that small fish. I've been here about 5 minutes and it's very, very slow indeed. But this one, at least, if I get more I don't know, but it's rescued me from a blank. Blanking when you're after sticklebacks. It is very hard going indeed. There's just that extra couple of inches depth that means I can't quite see the maggot when it hits the deck. That's okay though, because as I've said, they don't necessarily take it when it's static on the bed of the brook. I've got a tiny stickleback there. It's probably twice the size of the maggot, and I'm dangling the bait in the water and he's attacking it, or she. You can't sex them of course until you see the males with the red throat in the breeding season. I have had 1 or 2 fish though go for the bait, But as I've said, I don't want them to deep hook. So that was a nice stickleback there. That was a nice fish. I saw it turn, he went for the bait, and he twisted and turned. So they are out there. But I think the colour and all the gunge that's got washed in has put them off their food. It's a bit like us, isn't it, when things aren't too good, we don't feel very hungry. But I've caught that one. I do like the mini species. In fact, I like small fish of the main species as well. Ever since I was a kid, I remember way back, maybe the end of the 60s, possibly just into the 70s, I would say, the former. And oh, that one came off. And one of my cousins at the time had a boyfriend, and his family had a caravan at Stourport-on-Severn in Worcestershire, and they said we could go and stay. So I went with my nan and granddad. Can't remember how long it was for now, probably a few days. Don't think it was for a week. And of course I took my fishing tackle. I was born and grew up, and I still live there now, just meters away from the English watershed, which means, if you're not familiar with that term, it means that the brooks that rise the one side of the ridge end up eventually in the Bristol Channel, and the ones the other side into the North Sea, courtesy of the Severn and the Trent, the two major rivers there. Well, consequently, living on the watershed, you don't get much water other than tiny brooks. If only I'd have thought back in those days about the sticklebacks. But I did know those brooks that I grew up in, and they are devoid of fish, even sticklebacks. But we went to Stourport-on-Severn. I took my fishing tackle. I made the most of every chance, every opportunity that I had. And I can remember right down the side, it was quite deep water at Stourport, but right down the side I was catching tiny bream. They would be about that size. There was obviously a shoal of them, and they were in that area. I was fascinated by these fish. I do love bream now, and especially when they get to be 8, 9, 10 pound, the magical double figure. I've had those. They're fantastic too. Not necessarily to catch in terms of fight, but to get on the bank, a real achievement. But I was fascinated by those small fish, so I think that's always been with me. And I do enjoy the mini species very much. On this occasion, it's the 3-spined stickleback. I've said it in videos before, we have a 9-spined and a 15, with the latter being predominantly a saltwater fish. So you'll find them in brackish estuaries as well. Very, very quiet here this morning. Very quiet. That's fishing for you though, isn't it? Even if you're after the tiniest of species, or you're going for something a little bit more significant, you don't just turn up, cast out and catch every time. That's where, for me, fishing has so many benefits. One of them is patience. That one almost. One of them is patience. I'm flicking the bait out, watching it sink, and then when I can't see it anymore, I'm lifting it and going through the procedure again. Very, very hard going this morning. That was good. Walking back to the car now. It's a Saturday. I've got my fishing in. My blog started on July the 5th, 2003, which was a Saturday. And I always like to put a fishing related blog entry in. Even now, all these years later, a little bit of tradition, although I do blog on other things, and that's where I'm off next, to a football game. As a ground upper this time, Sutton Coldfield Town versus Halesowen Town. So, as they say, watch this space. If you're out today though, tight lines, maybe you're ground upping. Enjoy. I'll see you soon.